Next question. Do you think medical edibles differ at all from recreational edibles?
I know they do.
Can you expand?
Yeah, so recreational edibles, at least in Colorado, California, Oregon, Nevada, and Washington, and all the other states that it's legal, from a recreational standpoint, is dosage, right? So you can't buy more than 100 milligrams, and every single unit within that package that you buy that contains 100 milligrams has to be divided into 10 milligram points, right? And so edibles are tough because they can cause they it's not the same molecule that you're ingesting, right? So if you eat cannabis, THC, it goes through your liver and turns into 11 hydroxy delta 9 tetrahydrocan THC, right? Which is a different molecule, right? Because your liver processes it. That molecule has a higher binding affinity for your CB1 receptors in your brain, right? And so you're going to get much higher by eating cannabis than you will by smoking cannabis, right? Because when you smoke it, the THC molecule is the one reacting with your brain versus when you eat it, it's 11 hydroxy THC, right? And so you're going to have a much stronger reaction to an edible than you will from smoking it, which is where you heard all these horror stories of people eating edibles in Colorado and shooting their significant other or whatever the crazy thing is because it is a hallucinogen, right? Like, so people who maybe never consumed any cannabis before, they eat an edible and like next thing you know, they're literally tripping, like they are on a hallucinogenic compound, right? And so that's the biggest difference, which is why they regulate rec. Medical, there is no regulations, right? So you go out, you get your medical license, you're saying like I'm an active cannabis user, and you can then go buy 100 milligram gummies. So you can go buy 1,000 milligrams at a time, which you can't do in the rec market, right? So in the med market, every single edible is, at least in Colorado, I don't know exactly how Florida is going to regulate it or if those laws have come out yet, but in Colorado, like you can go buy like a 600 milligrams at a time, like not a problem in an edible, like in a chocolate bar, right? And it's because the mentality behind it is the medical user has built up a tolerance and they need the higher dose so that they can experience that high to alleviate the conditions that they're trying to alleviate from a medical purpose, right? And so sleeping and chemotherapy, those things, like if you're on chemotherapy and you're using cannabis for hunger purposes and pain purposes, pain relief purposes, and you've been using it for 6 months, like you're going to want the highest dose possible because you're literally just trying to mitigate pain and hunger. So you're going to want to eat 400 milligrams because it's literally a medicine at that point, right? And that's what it takes to then be treated as a medicine internally. So I think that right there is kind of it's a long-winded answer, and in my opinion, of what the true difference between medical and recreational cannabis is, or from an edible standpoint.